Hi everyone, happy Wicked Wednesday and welcome to Shivers Haunted. I am Gina Grossbauer, your curator for all things spooky. As today is the first Wicked Wednesday of October, I wanted to take this opportunity to get back to the basics and talk about my purpose in starting Shivers and what this whole horror empire is all about. So going back to the real basics, for those of you who don't know me, I am originally from northeastern Pennsylvania and currently live in North Carolina. As a kid, I was an absolute scaredy cat. I wouldn't be able to go through any boardwalk haunted house or watch anything remotely scary on TV. I had such an advertence to all things scary that my brother even called me Shakes. However, I was always a fan of Halloween and hard rock music. Something about the history and emotion combination of both categories always intrigued me. The very first album that I ever purchased was Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge by My Chemical Romance. And when I was in second grade, I even used to carry a photo of Gerard Way around in my lunchbox, starting that fandom pretty young. I was in the Girl Scouts for 13 years, and the one event that we did was work with a makeup artist that specialized in horror movie makeup. He taught each of us how to paint our faces to look like zombies, and it was the first time that I was able to see the true creative side of horror. After that, I started lightly dabbling into attending Halloween haunts and watching gory suspense movies. When I was 13, I attended my first Vans Warped Tour concert, which is a day-long concert full of hard rock and rock genre bands. This was the best day of my life. I went to Warped Tour each year after that for the next 8 years before they closed, and became even more enveloped into the rock world than I was. Tying all of this together, I began watching The Walking Dead, and that's really when my horror world opened up. I watched The Walking Dead religiously throughout high school and college, leaving my parents' house early enough on the weekends to get back to my college dorm or apartment to catch the Sunday night episode on time. This was also my first observation of the collective. The same feeling of being a part of a large rock crowd at Warped Tour was felt through communities and messaging boards talking about The Walking Dead. Everyone a part of this thing that shares their experiences and appreciates the good times that are. I then began watching American Horror Story and other horror shows, and eventually became obsessed with all things scary. I went to college at Temple University in Philadelphia, and this is where I really dove deep into the horror world. Growing up in northeastern Pennsylvania, things are very safe and secluded, and it's hard to conceptualize the idea of homelessness and street violence. But going to Philadelphia and diving in headfirst to seeing all of this really firsthand truly rocked me and changed me as a person. I felt guilty for growing up so blindly and taking my comfortable life for granted, and on the other hand, started getting angry at the giver and taker mentality of those who are struggling. I channeled these feelings and mix of emotions into watching horror movies. Being able to watch a film like Saw gave me the perspective I needed to see both sides of the story. John Kramer Jigsaw isn't a murderer, he's someone struggling, giving struggling people a chance to appreciate their life. And on the opposite side, these struggling people didn't ask John Kramer to step in and help them. What is right and wrong? It's all subjective, and we can live these emotions through virtual experiences like scary movies. While I was in Philadelphia, I went to the Walking Dead convention and was able to meet Chandler Riggs, the actor who played Carl on The Walking Dead, and my favorite character from all TV shows ever that I now have tattooed on my arm. This was the first aha moment that I had been waiting for in all of these years. These scary TV shows and horror movies aren't bringing negativity and harm to the society, but rather giving people who are different and creative a chance to come together and appreciate something that is out of the box. Something that has a negative story but is turned into art. After this, I was able to look through everything with a lens of clarity. These Halloween haunts are nothing but performances. These horror movies are trauma movies turned into relatable art movements. The people coming out of Halloween haunts are laughing. How could this be if it's so bad? This is where I found the beauty and love for horror, and why I wanted to make Shivers what it is. I believe that there's something in horror for everyone, and the biases toward the genre are nothing but misconstrued messages taken by skeptical critics. For example, if someone told you as a child that pizza tasted like garbage just because they didn't like pizza, and you never tried it in all of these years simply because they told you that it was bad and that the people who do like it have the word pizza tattooed on their arm, you would be doing yourself a disservice by one, judging others, and two, missing out on one of the best tasting foods ever. Living in North Carolina now, I see this on a regular basis. There are barely any Halloween haunts here, and I am the actual only person in my entire neighborhood that decorates for Halloween. This is because of the negative connotations built around the genre, and Halloween itself is dubbed as the devil's holiday. This was one of the true motivators for me wanting to create my own Halloween haunt and use it as a way of focusing on the artistic side of horror, something that everyone can enjoy. The opinions and judgments here in the South are really, as they say, a bunch of hocus pocus. I had to. I had to. I don't want this to come across as I'm sitting on a soapbox preaching about the positivity of horror to you all, but rather I just long for the Shivers itself to become a community where all of us can kind of dip our toes into the horror water and help those who are just getting into the genre as well. What to expect from watching horror movies, what to experience, what you can gain. I'm here to hold your hand and walk you through all of it. As mentioned last time, we'll be spending a few days this October reviewing Halloween haunts along the East Coast, and I'm super excited to share that our first review will be this Friday, focusing on Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando at Universal Studios. I was able to go a few weeks ago and cross this event off my bucket list, and I can't wait for you all to see the review. Another event that Shivers is hosting is called Horror, History, and Ties to Spirituality, which will be presented on Solely Holistic's platform on October 26th from 7:30 until 9 on Zoom at night. This is a free event, and I hope to see you all there. As always, thanks for listening and being a part of this, and enjoy your wicked